Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors meeting for Thursday, April 6th to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We had two executive sessions since the last Board of Supervisors meeting. One took place March 16th. It was at 10:02 a.m. to 10:41. And that was for personnel and land acquisition related. And we just had one tonight, April 6th, for personnel related and labor council related from 5:55 to 6:50 p.m.
Friends, before we go to the meeting minutes, I'd like to make a motion at this time to amend the agenda and for discussions with air methods, and I'd like to add that to number 4B on the presentation list.
Motion, do I have a second? I'll second that. Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Past meeting minutes for approval.
I have changes.
I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes as written.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have Pure Cycle here for an update on the recycle center. Pure Cycle.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah.
Mr. Ryan asked that I appear before you this evening. I'm Bill Roundtree. I think you hopefully know me by now. Or hopefully not, but frequent flyer here. To give you a brief update, so I'll just give you a snapshot of where we are, what we've been doing, and the path forward, and then any questions you might have, I'm happy to answer. So as you know, I'm sure, you can see it out your window, we started construction back in March after preliminary approval. Again, we thank you for working with us to let us get shovels in the ground. Since then, they have the first basement constructed. They've begun blasting to begin bulk earthwork. So all that is progressing and progressing on schedule. With regard to PennDOT, as it relates to our proposed access and future access, unfortunately, we got another review letter from PennDOT on the traffic impact study. So we just resubmitted that to PennDOT. So we're still not at a point where we're submitting HOP plans to PennDOT for their review and approval. They're on their 6th round of review. To be fair, we did change the strategy, eliminating the signals, as we discussed at the last meeting. But that was 2 iterations ago. So we're not sure why it's taking this long, but it is. So by the end of April, we should have approval of the TIS, and then we'll be submitting the HOP plans to the unsignalized driveway and access to Pure Cycle. With regard to the future project, obviously we've been focused on the PennDOT side on getting our access approved before we switch tracks with them. But we have made progress with the property owner on the corner, the 5 acres. We actually have an executed agreement of sale on the property swap and easements required and additional right-of-way required, which will benefit this HOP and the future project. So next step is to meet with the other neighbors and have those conversations continue. We submitted plans on the retaining wall for a building permit. We received that. So as bulk ready proceeds, we'll be constructing a retaining wall. And then we're submitting a building permit, which I think we discussed last time, can be reviewed during this process. We're going to then likely request, depending on timing, to do some non-vertical work, maybe some footing work, and maybe pouring of concrete panels, which I'm not sure is regulated, because it's just building concrete panels on the ground, not tilting them up. But we're gonna have those discussions later. I don't have details. I don't know if the timing of our final approval might be okay anyway. I just want to set the table for that discussion. But the plans will be coming in for review, which I guess I'd like to see if everyone agrees that we discussed just review of the building permit plans at this point, just to get the technical review out of the way and have it ready. I think that was part of our developer agreement.
It's kind of typical,
Yeah.
a typical thing on a project this size to pursue things in a parallel or multiple parallels with the intention of it all coming together at the end.
Two other items that we're currently working on. One, Mr. Ryan is aware, and the consultants are aware. We originally had proposed residents to the west of us, three properties, 4 tenants to the west of our parcel, currently accessed through our site. When our plan is done, that driveway is still going to be going across the site, but we have to route it around our. So we proposed that as the relocation. We thought we could sort of just relocate the driveway on our site. That's turning out to be extremely difficult and probably impossible because of the wall that we're constructing. So we're seeking, and we received permission from Heatherwood to do a temporary access to Heatherwood Drive, which we originally proposed months ago as permanent, and had then withdrawn, just until we get the retaining wall built and can build a wall between, build a driveway between the property line and retaining wall. Our contractor has done some clearing out there, but we're not making that connection until we get approval from the township. I think that is to review the access easement agreement with concur, and we're reaching out to the neighbors to make sure everyone's aware before we cut off that driveway and make the connection. I think that's it. Is there anything that you wanted to update on that I haven't addressed?
Our traffic engineer and our township engineer are here. Folks, do you have any questions or comments? Right.
We got the traffic study late last week, so it was submitted. We got a notification today, I believe, about some recycle. So we're going to begin our review. The updated site plan just came right at FedEx this morning, so we have those plans, and that'll be on our agenda to start looking at. So again, as indicated, there was previous questions, comments from PennDOT. Updated traffic counts were done. The study was updated based on our previous comments. So again, we'll work through the review process and probably within 10 days have a review on the back.
Like John and Bill said, April 3rd, I believe, Heatherwood's LLC and Right Eversol agreed to a license agreement to utilize the rest of Heatherwood's land in phase 3 and phase 4 and 5, which is currently private and non-dedicated township, to temporarily access those 3 parcels in the back. As John stated, John and the township did receive an updated submission today via FedEx as of 5 o'clock. We did not receive it yet, so Bill's going to be checking on that to make sure that our office gets the updated submission so that we can actively start reviewing that. I think the last submission, Bill's from December of 2022. So we want to make sure we get all T's crossed and I's dotted.
Is it possible, Bill, that the HOP plans could be submitted even though they're not ready to go depend off us?
Well, PennDOT won't accept them.
No, I mean,
we can submit to you.
yeah, at least submit those, so we have a
Yeah.
parallel review, and we'll leave that
Happy
one.
to.
We can get a jump on that and.
And the access drive you're talking about, I think, if I'm understanding correctly, it's the dead end on Heatherwood Lane, correct?
It is.
That would be the tenant. So right now it goes through the center of our site.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the bulk earthwork, again, we thought we could move it 3 times, do the bulk earthwork, move it back and fence it or cone it so the residents knew where they were going, especially at night. It's difficult to get through if we change the configuration. It turns out we can't do that because of the retaining wall. There won't be any way to get off of our building pad back down to the driveway because of the retaining wall. So we need an interim solution, and that is for a few months connecting to Heatherwood until we build that new driveway, which is on our site, and connect it back up to the existing driveway.
So you mentioned you guys are clearing already. I know there's been concerns of a lot of trees being taken out, noise from people. We've received complaints as well from Heatherwoods of, what's going to happen if they take out all the trees. We're going to hear more turnpike, this, that, and all that. Since it's only a temporary access and it will go away eventually when you guys do your driveway, is there anything in plans to replant some trees there or any of that, or?
So we didn't have plans to do so, but we're going to be doing substantial landscaping on our site. We'd be happy to replace them with whatever was there, evergreens and street trees, whatever types of trees we're taking down. We're not happy to do that. Now, I have to see if I can figure out what was there, but whatever we can fit, we're happy.
And we're gonna be seeing future plan submissions from you, and a planting schedule can be included in that.
It didn't make this submission, but we'll have to supplement.
Oh, understood, we're not, it might not even, I'll leave it up to you when you submit it, but it's gonna be 4 months of temporary use.
This access will just be for those residents, no construction at all.
Correct. Just for their use, just to keep them out of the construction area.
Just to clarify, there are 2 permitted temporary HOP locations, the one Brubacher is utilizing for their construction equipment, and then the other one, which is closer to Hill Road, was intended during the construction process to be utilized as a shared access trail.
But there will be no construction equipment going through Heatherwoods.
None. No construction equipment will cross the creek. They all stay on our side and access from Ruby Road.
Yes.
So
Name,
there's no crossing the creek. We live 2 doors down from where this is all happening right now, where
In
the,
Heatherwood.
yes,
Oh,
we live in
Heatherwood,
Heatherwood,
yeah.
so we're just seeing all this happen.
Yeah, none of our vehicles will use
And
that.
there's no crossing the creek there, and
So as a matter of fact, when we tie Heatherwood into that driveway, we won't be able to then get there from our site or get to our site from there during that temporary condition. It'll be burned up. So there will not be any access. It'll be impossible.
there's nothing permanent going there.
Nothing
Like
permanent to
for-
grab the driveway until we get our driveway constructed.
And there's gonna be a retaining wall of some kind? Is it?
Well, on our, not near Heatherwood, but around the warehouse.
Okay.
That's just interfering with us being able to continue to utilize that driveway.
I'm sorry, that was an interesting point. So the connection to Heatherwood is going to be physically separated from the construction site.
Correct.
So
It'll be
even
physically
construction vehicles that get lost are not gonna be able
It'll
to
be
get there.
physically impossible
Okay,
to
gotcha.
get across the creek.
I'm sorry, a name for the record, so when,
Jen Langer.
thank you. Is there any other questions? Yes, sir.
So you're gonna be taking out more trees than to make this access road?
Only the clearing that was done so far, just between where Heatherwood,
So nothing additional on that for the
well,
driveway?
or just that little area. We do have to swing out a little bit past the existing driveway to make sure a fire truck can get through there. So maybe a couple more trees that front on the 4 acres on your side of the creek that we're not touching as part of this development.
So on
But
our-
nothing else, just
on our
that
side of the-
immediate area. That's
So on our side of the street, you're gonna be taking out some more trees, you're saying?
on your side of,
On the creek, sorry. To make
just
that access.
enough to, so, I'm not sure how, we don't have exhibits, so I apologize, but just so we can make that turn onto the driveway. So I don't know what trees are down right now, but it's minimal.
And what property is that? Whose property is that? Who's that on by?
That's you, okay, gotcha. But there's 3 properties to our west. So if you're standing, looking at our site from Heatherwood to the right, that access their properties through our site. Apparently, we're building a new driveway on our site. This is just a temporary condition for those residents until we build our site and we can get that driveway.
And you said you had gotten approval from Heatherwood's,
Yeah, well, so the road is actually dedicated for public, as a public road, so we could have received township permission to do so. The township hasn't accepted it yet as a public road, so we needed Heatherwood permission to do so until it's dedicated.
and you got that permission from the HOA?
Burke's
Got that
Homes, that
from
would
Burke's
be,
Homes.
it would be Burke's Homes, not
Property.
the HOA.
Okay, I got you.
Burke's Homes technically owns the street still, because we have not accepted it as our roads. They haven't been dedicated to the township.
And it would not have been transferred to the HOA for that reason.
Correct.
With any other common areas.
Okay, no, that's also my understanding.
So the HOA did not approve their temporary access. Burke's Homes did. Got it. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I heard something about conservation, like a conservation area.
We're gonna get to that at a different, it's later on the agenda. We're gonna get to that.
Different project,
Oh,
different,
okay.
let's call it,
That's one thing.
yeah, let's
This
call
is
it
another.
different development.
We'll
Yeah.
get to that. We'll get to it.
Oh, okay, I thought there was something else.
No.
Okay.
So Bill, question, because I'm very big on this road being built. Are you guys still committed to this road?
100%. We can't do anything with PennDOT until they approve our driveway, but we're doing some of the homework. So the 5-acre parcel, there were components that we needed just to do our access, but there are components that we needed to do the future road. We handled it all with one agreement with them, and that's been executed. We'll provide the township copy when I receive the physical copy. So additional PennDOT right of way, the piece of their property that we're going to speak to the other property owner about the swap, construction easement, so we can have the full 60-foot right of way of that future township road. It's all, that was I think the heavy lift, getting that property resolved. We'll continue that homework. Can't do anything with PennDOT. Although I will say, our TIS, we're not hiding the fact that we're going to come back in, so they're aware that this will happen at a future date.
And
That's
that's what you said.
So Bill, when it comes to design work on the new Hill Road, does that have to wait for PennDOT's okay out on the highway too, or can some of that design work go ahead?
We can do it. We can start today if we wanted to. The critical path is PennDOT's not going to accept anything until they issue a permit on our driveway. Then we have to submit another revised TIS again, and we have months of their review of that TIS before they get physical plans for the road. So we have a concept that also has grading. Casey's office has seen that. We still have some work to do on it, but the bones are there. Our plan is to not really do that prematurely. Let's get the PennDOT permit, let's get the review then of the revised TIS for the signal project, and then follow that path. It would be premature. We are doing additional geotechnical work that Casey's office requested for design of that road, so it meets township standards. So, and as a reminder, even though we only need a 24-foot driveway from 272 all the way into our site, we're building it to full township road standards, full carway width, pavement section, the whole deal. So it will be, other than dedicating it, it will be built to township road standards.
Just to clarify real quick, the request came on, the ordinance requires section 194.25K something, requires CPR testing for any township road to be dedicated. So that's part of the ordinance, is administer geotechnical testing of the subbase to ensure that both their asphalt thickness and subgrade is up to par for vehicles to use.
Saw another question over here.
Yes.
Name,
What,
your name.
Peter, previously.
Thank you.
What's gonna happen to the old section of the hill road that's going up to the T72? Are you guys gonna just level it or what?
It's not going to be leveled. It'll be available because that 5-acre parcel in the corner, the driveway is pretty close to 272. So we just don't know yet. We'll have to work with the township to decide whether that'll be remain a dead-end road, whether it'll become a private driveway. We haven't worked those details out.
And once you develop the new section, will that have a sidewalk all the way from the 272 all the way down to our,
It's a hill road.
Hill Road and all the way into past the township?
It'll only be, we're providing a sidewalk along our entire frontage now on 272 and along the entire new road that we're constructing, but that will stop where we tie into the existing hill road. We don't have plans to continue the sidewalk construction.
So right out here.
Yeah, is there any plans to continue the sidewalk? Because I see a lot of kids walking on the side of the road here, right past this township. And at night, sometimes it's not a safe thing to do. I see them riding bikes and like all of a sudden they're closed, just not gonna,
So at this time, there is no plans for that. There hasn't even been discussion about that to tie it in. There has not.
it's good timing about it.
Perhaps we could discuss it amongst ourselves with the manager, and while we're at it, just get some pricing or whatnot, if there's any interest from the board, so we can take it into consideration.
It's a number of properties along that road. There's a number of properties along there. It's more than just one property. So that adds to the complexity.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Brandon Hamrick, is there a possibility that PennDOT does not approve this?
There's always a possibility, but we're so deep, we're on the 6th round of review with them. Usually you know by now if there's a non-starter, so we feel pretty confident.
Your star does not approve the warehouse, or does not approve the road?
The road,
Yeah, again, there's always risk there, but same answer. We've had, originally, we were gonna lead with that. It was taking so long, we couldn't. Now you see why we just got kicked back again for that driveway. We've had significant amount of discussions where we know what PennDOT needs to see to get that approved, so we're highly confident.
and I didn't hear from last meeting, you said it's not gonna be a signaled road anymore?
Initially, but then we've been talking about going back in for the new project. That's then the signal project.
Okay.
So initially, it's just a driveway access with no signal. And then we'll come back later for the signal and the connection all the way to the road.
I thought I heard in the last meeting minutes, you mentioned a liability of Hill Road and 272. Doesn't that create a larger liability?
So for past, this was probably over 6-7 meetings ago, and I think you guys were still on review, maybe 2 or 3. The only way they were gonna get an HOP at the beginning was if the township would consider closing off entirely Hill Road. So PennDOT acknowledges it, and we all agreed upon doing that as well. We originally had said, leave a right in, but they wanted 0 motions on Hill Road there. So obviously, closing that off and putting some kind of wall there or something to not allow cars to go up Hill Road anymore. We are hopeful for the signalized intersection there. That's the ultimate goal, and I think we're pretty close to, let's say, getting that. I think that's going to be the ultimate plan. Would you say, John?
Yeah, we're definitely working that direction. As you indicated, I think originally in the township, we were looking at allowing movements off of 272 on the hill and PennDOT. After several meetings, pretty much said they want their direction and all there. So again, we're back to the drawing board. And again, the phasing is just to try to keep these required properties and making that work. It's taking time. So again, the current study it's under review it has 2 phases. First phase is what they're looking at now is just their driveway come out, built to township roadway spec back along their site. Second phase coming in is going to be the installation of the traffic signal connection through. It's really just a matter of running through the numbers of here's the traffic with just the warehouse, of course I won't, but here's the traffic noise with Hill Road relocated. The intersection is going to be built ultimately with turn lanes, everything. So once the construction is done on 272 along frontage, that's it. So it's just going to be a matter of going back and putting the signal in at the intersection, maybe some restriping. But again, the connection piece going back to Hill, and then how Hill gets terminated, truncated, turn around and hammerhead or something there to deal with that section. Pressure needs to work.
But I should have noted that as part of the ultimate build out, and that's going to require improvements on Reading Road, Colonel Howard intersection, and elsewhere, some restriping, extension of left turn lanes. We're actually proposing to do that work under this HOP, or unsignalized driveway. That's in our package now to be done. The offsite stuff is part of that project. So I should have pointed that out, because that's an important piece. We've been focusing on the intersection itself, but the offsite improvements are happening under this current application.
That includes lengthening the left turn lane to go south off Colonel Howard, restriping, pushing it back further, and also replacing the 5-section signal heads with the 4 four sections flashing yellow arrows and upgrading the signal heads accordingly, so it's gonna involve all that. As well as, I think, some of the southbound left turn lane, extending that
At Colonel Howard's intersection.
at Colonel Howard, correct?
And no, Colonel Howard will not be repaved yet, just, not yet, not yet. They're gonna do the on ramps and off ramps and that, but they're not doing the boulevard yet.
Can you guarantee it's gonna get repaved?
Well, they said 2025. That's what they said, and
Who
it's
said
not,
that?
someone from the state.
Who
Not
said that?
You did.
That's a state schedule.
It's traffic calming, Lorenzo, it slows people down.
I drive a shoulder when I can, or in the middle.
Traffic calming.
Any other questions for Pure Cycle? All right,
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you for coming.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
Have a happy Easter. Air Methods is next.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Ben Thomas. I'm the representative for Air Methods.
We'll come up front.
Sure. Looking around.
See you, John.
Okay. The reason I'm coming here tonight is we are Air Medical Helicopter Company, and we partnered with Stevenson Fire to place a new medical helicopter here in town. The ask tonight is to get a approval to run temporary power for our crew housing. Right now we have, it's 3 RVs that we have to get power to, which Stevenson Fire is going to provide electrical, and we're going to run extension cords to those to power those units. Future down the line, we will have a fully engineered base house on property, but that is down the line quite a bit. So tonight, we're just asking for a 90-day temporary approval to run power to the RVs.
That power, that's standard power, 120 volts.
That's correct.
And that already exists there, chief?
Yep, basically plugs into a household 20 amp outlet. So we have them in our building there, so it's just a matter of plugging the RV cord right into the 50 outlet.
Kind of draw
Yeah,
it to show where it's
yeah.
gonna be placed.
Here we have a drawing of it.
Yeah. Okay, so,
They're small RVs, I think they're 21, 22 feet. Reason we have 3 of them because we have a pilot, a nurse, and a medic, so each one will have their own facility.
How about water and sewer?
That will be provided from a company that's going to come out and supply water and bring the sewer once a week. Same with propane, as an offsite company that we're working with.
so there's no connection.
There's no connection.
There would be the facilities of the RV unit that would be used. And you have a once-a-week service.
Yeah, it's a service that's going to come to the property.
They're not bringing out porta or.
No, because the RVs are 100% self-contained, so it will just be a company that comes out and services them.
I saw the helicopter there a couple weeks ago, and then the RVs move in and whatnot. So where's the pilot, medical, where's the staff staying right now?
So right now, we're day basing at the fire department, and we're night basing at the crew Hilton. And what that's doing right now is causing about a 30-minute delay in patient care, because they have to get the call at the hotel, come over, and then get the helicopter to take off. So with us being off site like that, it's a huge delay for medical care.
And out of curiosity, how many, off topic, how many times have you guys been called already, like since
Since
the
opening, I
helicopter
think we're at number 6.
Chief, how many did you do last year, off the top of your head, you remember?
90.
90. Remember the year before?
Just under 70, I believe it was, 64, 68. The other big point for us at the fire department is with these guys moving in here, we don't have to do that anymore. So we will save about 800 to 1,000 man hours of time because they will be 100% self-sufficient and approved by FAA and PennDOT Aviation to do this. So we've actually got to the point now we're not even doing LCs anymore, unless there's a mistake with dispatch.
You said PennDOT and FAA, is that approvals, are they done?
So currently we have a PennDOT license for aviation, which is the only one we required. We went through that last year. We just had a re-up. Oh, I think that was 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. So we are currently licensed with them again.
What about the FAA?
They are not interested at this point in time. Once they move on to the process of becoming permanent, they'll have to deal with the FAA because it's turns to a commercial use piloted program instead of a medical use like Lakeline and that one. So they'll have to deal with the FAA to get compliant and licensed.
That has nothing to do with us as a municipality.
That is correct. That is strictly an aviation safety requirement thing on their end for business for them to work. Both of them with PennDOT and the FAA. When we built that pad in 2018, the FAA was out and inspected that and said they don't have to do anything with it because it's privately owned. It's a PennDOT issue because it's used at the fire company for medical services. It's not a terminal in and out for passengers, flights, joyride, whatever. It is specifically for aeromedical usage. So there is information down in Washington DC on that, so they have been there once.
If I remember a few years ago too, because you came to us and gave us some information about it, you were the president there. You guys got audited by them or something like that, right?
Yeah, the FAA guy came out and was up with me for about 3 hours, going through the process, taking pictures and measuring. So yeah.
Guess it was several years ago, you made a claim that the concrete pad was not sufficiently built or something like that.
That has been alleviated, if I believe correctly, that has been proven not correct.
Well, I never heard a conclusion to it.
Yeah, I believe that has been cleared.
So it is inspected correctly.
Yep. PennDOT was literally out 2 weeks ago for the inspection, so yeah, it is legitimate.
My understanding there is liability there, that's all between the fire company and Air Methods,
Jimmy can answer that.
right?
Yeah, we have enough coverage, insurance coverage. Everybody seems to be happy.
Any questions from the public? Yes, sir.
How much reimbursement?
Name, please.
Sam Weaver. How much reimbursement is the fire company getting from that?
We have a rental agreement with them.
How much?
It's between us and them.
Well, you're a fire company that's in the township.
I
That the
understand.
township has funded you, and they don't know what you're getting?
Township knows.
Oh, I think it should be
I
public.
don't know.
Do you need to know?
Yeah.
Do you have
I
the
think-
right to know? It's a private business on our end, you've never asked for that before. I mean, this sounds like somebody else is looking for information on that, just so they know. I mean, we don't go around asking everybody else what they make or do. I mean, if the township wants to know, we provide their financials every year, and this will be included in it.
That would be like asking what their ambulance drivers.
Yeah, we provide our financials every year when it's due, so it'll be in there just like every other year.
So it's understood, the fire company is a charitable nonprofit to which the township contributes, just like it contributes to the library or any other charitable nonprofit. Under the second-class township code, the fire department is required to account for the money that the township contributes to the fire company. Our 3 fire companies actually go beyond that and account for all of their money on an annual basis to the township. That's the relationship, that's the legal responsibility. But other than that, they are not the township, they are a private nonprofit corporation.
You can even go a step further than that. As a 501c corporation per the IRS, you can actually ask any 501c for a copy of their tax returns. And they're actually required to provide those, whomever that may be.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, so.
Name, please.
Ron Forsythe.
Thank you.
So the company Air Method is currently conducting commercial operations.
That's right.
On that.
Yes.
And the final inspection is done by the state?
For the helipad?
Yes.
Yes, PennDOT.
Yes.
Yes, they did.
The Bureau of Aviation did?
Yes.
Okay, and then you said the FAA was out in?
That was for me, yes.
Yeah.
2018 when Webby was built.
Okay. And so that was all approved?
They did not approve anything because they were not involved in it because it was privately owned by the fire department.
Right, but now it's being used for commercial operations.
It's going to be changed, and my understanding currently is PennDOT has the final say.
Yeah.
Because we are a commonwealth, they have the final ruling and licensing, which we do currently carry.
Okay, so is it public use or private use?
Private use for aeromedical is our stand on that, and will stay that way.
Okay.
I better correct that. The state police have been there from other states a couple times over the years. So there has been other emergency personnel usage that have been there, but no private charters or commercial usage.
Okay, but now it's commercial, so it would have to be public use. Is that
No,
correct?
no.
Okay. And so the final inspection that was done, so it's licensed now and has was identified as a licensed fuel port, correct?
No.
It's a stop, right? That's what we finally did it with.
Yeah, you gotta go through the process with the township and them to get the office building put in.
Yeah.
And there's some striping that's required by PennDOT, so they have a 1-year temporary license through PennDOT to get that done. And then PennDOT will come out once they've gotten to that point and recertify it as a permanent private helipad.
Okay, so right now it's under temporary.
It's under temporary licensing for a year, yes.
Okay. And they're going to be conducting night operations, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So was there a hearing? Did the board conduct like a hearing locally for the residents that live around that helipad? Well, it's not a requirement, but so people just would know what was going on, because it's a 24/7 operation.
Yes, yeah, and that pad has been in place since 18, right?
That pad's been established in 2018. We've been doing the helicopter landing since 1987.
Yeah.
So I cannot begin to tell you what happened back in 1987.
Okay.
I can tell you we went through the process in 2018 to put the concrete version of it in.
Okay.
But yeah, to tell you what happened in 87, I'd be guessing because I was only starting back then.
Okay, but now with the commercial operation in there, I just didn't know if people were, because, the helicopter's taking off and landing, late at night or in the middle of the night, could cause some concern for residents. I don't know if they would maybe want to know what's going on, and I didn't know if there was a hearing conducted, just so people knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not anything additional to when it was placed in service back in 87.
Okay. So they're going
Or
to
18, so it was conducting night operations since then, right? So we haven't changed the operation status, we're just now having a crew that's housed there to provide closer medical equipment than, somebody coming from, 45 minutes away.
Okay.
So now they're here for this side of the city.
Okay, and so so the lighting is all, I know you have temporary.
Yeah, it's still temporary lighting as well.
So
we have night lighting.
So you'll have impact lighting at some point?
We have temporary lighting currently.
Right.
For landing.
Yeah, that'll be required by PennDOT, actually. I think they have to be on every 25 feet.
Yep.
And the four corners, I believe it's either green or blue.
Yeah, it's green, so
Yeah.
During night operations, there is temporary lighting that is placed on the helicopter.
Okay, and are all the pilots in DG qualified?
Yes.
Okay, and you're conducting DG operations in there at night?
Yes.
Okay, for takeoff?
Yep.
Okay. All right. And so, well, I guess my other question is, did the board know about this operation coming in? Did the whole board know about it? Or was it, you know, as far as this operation coming into the fire company? But Mr. Chairman, did you know?
I was not. I was not informed about this till actually I saw the helicopter, and then I'd ask questions of the manager.
And Mr. Mitchell, did you know about it?
Today's basically the first time I've seen a proposal or heard anything about it. There was an email come through with that PennDOT paperwork we were talking about a week or two ago, but there was no explanation with it. And you know, I think nobody had met with the manager yet to talk about this building or the plans going forward.
And I gotta correct myself. I did see the PennDOT the PennDOT review that he's talking about. That's what I was told.
Okay.
But to me, when I looked at that, it was just the requirements that needed to be done.
Right.
It wasn't. I didn't read that as an inspection report.
I don't know if you got an inspection report. I'm not sure what you did receive, because the inspection report, I think I've only had in my hands for about a week.
You know, we have the May 2022 review letter from PennDOT. Have those items been addressed in there with the most recent PennDOT inspection? Are there any items in there outstanding?
Are we talking about like the wall that needs to be removed?
There was a comment regarding the wall.
Everything that was on there was fixed. Okay. And that's why when they came out 2 weeks ago, they came to re-inspect that.
Okay. Will they issue a clean review letter?
I have that.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that's what came last week, the 1 year temporary licensing.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and so just a couple of questions. So who's the owner of the hill pad currently?
Stevenson Fire.
Okay, so you said I heard a partnership, so I didn't know.
Well, we're partnering with them because we're, if you want to call it co-housing.
Right.
Our team will be there along with their team.
Okay. Okay, so and
We're technically, we have a preferred provider agreement with WellSpan Hospital.
okay. Is that ongoing? So you had that prior to coming to the Stevens Fire Company?
Yes, so we've been partnered with WellSpan for a little over 2 years. We've been operating out of Gettysburg, and now this is going to be an extension of their program that we're partnered with them with.
Okay.
Do helicopters operate under the same basis as ambulances, that there's a mutual aid compact and the nearest unit is dispatched?
Yeah, that's within the agreements within the EMS. I don't have those in front of me, but there are mutual aid style agreements.
Yeah, so for all emergency services, whether it's fire, police, ambulance, helicopter, the county manages a mutual aid compact so that, let's say you're a member of a certain ambulance association, if you make a 911 call, the ambulance association of which you are a member might be occupied. There might be a mass trauma event and several ambulance associations vehicles are occupied. The county will dispatch the nearest available vehicle. And that's referred to as mutual aid, that all of the emergency responders mutually aid each other in responding in the quickest fashion. But helicopters are new to me.
Yeah.
I represent ambulance associations and fire companies, but I don't know.
Yeah, very similar. I mean, we will do scene flights and we also do interfacility.
My understanding is they're the same as a wheeled ambulance. They're just the flying version of a wheeled ambulance.
And that's what I expected to hear.
Yes, that's my understanding of talking with that group.
And I believe that's the way the township, way back when, treated this. This is just any other emergency response vehicle on a property that's in an emergency response use.
Correct, and that's why, and I'll say I'll take the hit for that. We assumed it's the same thing because we've been doing it since 1987, so it wasn't a big deal, other than asking for the uses of the RV for a little bit until they go through the building processes, because it's been going on for all these years.
So here's another question to which I don't know the answer, but I know the question. Tents are temporary structures under the building code. RVs are defined in our zoning ordinance as temporary dwellings. You probably should talk to our code administrator on whether there's any inspection required on that electrical connection.
No, for general knowledge, it is just a standard plug. I mean, nothing's hardwired in, it's gonna be a plug to plug.
I understood, but it's the same thing as running an extension cord to a tent for a wedding for the lights. The code covers it through. You need to know whether this requires a code inspection.
Let me hear that again so I can understand. If you're plugging in an extension cord, it needs to be inspected. Is that what I barely heard you?
So, depending on the circumstances, and in a commercial setting, if you're running a wedding event venue and you put up a tent every weekend and take it down every weekend, the building code requires an inspection every weekend on that electrical connection.
Okay.
I don't know if that applies here to RVs,
Gotcha.
but our zoning ordinance defines RVs as temporary dwellings. Yeah. So even temporary structures are subject to the code.
Right, and I would expect that to be, so I think they asked tonight is, we need a variance approval from the supervisors to even have that on the property at this point in time. We can even go down that if I understood correctly. I think that's what we're here for.
No, that's.
Yeah, we don't give variances. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the ask is.
The ask would be for them to use the RVs that are situated at the location until such time as within the 90 days, the final, Tommy, what are you working on there? It's the final.
They'd be submitting a plan for consideration of a waiver of land development.
For the waiver of land development.
So the use is the use. The expansion of the use is not in terms of frequency, it's in terms of land occupied. Because that's what the land use ordinance is regulating. If you make the same number of widgets times 2 in the same plant, we don't regulate that. If you need to expand the plant by 2, we regulate that. So what would be regulated here is the amount of the space on that land occupied by the use, and especially if you're going to build permanent structures. So at this point, the approval of this, if regulated, would come from our code official, our code administrator.
That's what we're waiting for that.
Yeah.
I saw another question. Name, please.
Jeff Garner. So just for clarification, you're an independent commercial business that is leasing from Stevens Fire Company?
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay, I wanted to clarify that first, just to make sure. Right, but a good question. So that, because I think people were looking at like, well, this is Stevens. Now they're an independent commercial business that's leasing the land or the space from Stevens.
That's correct, yes.
So how zoning treats that is, it's Stevens providing the service through a contracted commercial business. Right, but does that commercial business then needs to follow all the commercial regulations? Because it's an accessory buildings to the primary use of the land. So it doesn't matter who it is. Right. The answer to that is yes, and it might not be an accessory building, it could be a principal building. We'll have to evaluate that when it's submitted. But I don't think it can be a principal building because Stevens Fire Company is the landowner you can have multiple principal buildings associated with the principal use. The principal use of that property is an emergency response use. Stevens is providing some of that service through a contract with this organization.
But I just heard that Stevens isn't providing that, it's their commercial business, so all they're doing is leasing the space from Stevens.
Right, so the case law that established this, I don't always remember case names, but this one I do, it's Noah's Ark Daycare, where the court determined that daycare is a accessory use for a house of worship. Many houses of worship have daycare. And it's immaterial whether the house of worship operates it or the house of worship contracts with a commercial for-profit operation to run the daycare for the house of worship. So it's similar here.
Okay.
Yeah, we also don't regulate whether you're profit or nonprofit. Some emergency response companies are for-profit. Some are not. Some are nonprofits, just like Stevens. So zoning doesn't regulate who or what the operator is. It regulates what the use is. And it also regulates the construction on the site. So was it Booz Aluminum that was in here?
Yeah.
Where the issue was, what are the new buildings being used for? And on that basis, the question was asked, well, is it an additional principal building or is it an additional accessory building? You can have multiple principal buildings on the site. You always drag me into the weeds of
I'm in construction, so
yeah.
I'm just asking the questions.
Yeah. So
there will be a future submission too for plans for the rest of the build outs. We're working with engineering firm on that. Tonight is really more about the use of the trailers so we can have our crew closer to the helicopters.
Yes, sir.
I'll run for a second again. So you guys, even though you're not at the hospital, you're still conducting things operations in the 1235?
That's correct.
Okay.
You said camps operations?
Camps.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so you're doing that.
Yes.
That's 24/7.
Yeah.
And so the facilities under the rule have to be adequate. So I think the FAA will probably want to come out and take a look at them once they're done. That's pretty standard.
We're doing everything to an FAA standard. Air Methods is in 48 states with 300 bases across the country, so everything we do is up to the highest standard.
And so, now with board members, who did you work with and talk to, or people on the supervisor board about?
Me personally, I have not.
Okay.
So that was all started with a corporate business team.
Okay. Because two of the board members don't seem to know anything about it, so I just didn't know. And, Mr. Cresco, did you let the other board members know about what was going on?
I followed the procedure our new township manager wants. I let our township manager know.
Okay.
So Tommy's been working that. There's a permit application that's already in place for this. The ask for tonight is because of the time that they're losing going from the Hilton to those helicopters, because you understand with your background, because of the critical care portion of who these patients are, is can they be put in a temporary structure for now until the rest of that is completed?
Okay, so they basically didn't know, the other township supervisors didn't know, as well. I'm asking. Were they in on the?
I didn't know about this ask until tonight also. So.
Okay.
Because they were operating there already, and they had been operating since 1987. We had a grand opening back in whenever, I forget.
Right. Right, but now there's a commercial operation there, so I just wanted to make sure that everybody on the board, I know you talked to the manager, but everybody on the board knew about what was going on and when the commercial operation started. And just, to me, it seems like they didn't know. So maybe that's okay, and maybe it isn't. I don't think it is, but.
For the record, because I want to be transparent as well. I had zero contacts with them. I did see previous emails that someone from Air Methods RC was attached to their emails. So he was part of the conversations. I don't know if he went into the conversation, but he was attached to all the correspondence about the Air Methods joining Stevens and all that. I was not, and our manager was not, and Mr. Mitchell was not. So it was only one board member that was. And during that email, then it was forwarded to our manager, and our manager forwarded it to the whole board. So we all had the same information. I just want to set the record straight.
And I agree with that, House. Okay. All right, thank you. You know, I come in, I was busy working today, but I come in this evening and all of a sudden, you know, I hear, well, there's going to be a presentation. And, okay. I didn't know this. I didn't know you were coming. I'm sorry. I apologize.
1 o'clock yesterday, I didn't know it was coming either, so.
Okay.
That's why you run the helicopters. You get here quick.
Yeah, get here quick.
Yes, sir.
Jeff Garner. So just what they're doing is crucial. It's life-saving, not disputing that at all. I guess where I'm coming from with the whole thing is they're asking for approval for something that should be going through another process. But I've sat in enough of these meetings. I'm in construction. I've gone through the whole process before, and we don't allow other people to do that. And we got to follow the proper chain of commands. Like, you got to go through zoning hearing board or.
What do you mean by that?
Well, like, for him to come in and ask for a temporary approval from the board, that's not for the board to approve that temporary approval. That should be going through the manager or the building codes. And I would have thought that stuff would have been pre-thought through. So if we're gonna go into operation on so-and-so date, we would have did our due diligence 60 days ago or 9 days ago, and they were setting up. We know we're gonna pull trailers in, we're gonna put power, we're gonna get all this. All that approval should have been done, and he's doing his due diligence now with going through the building permits for the future building, stuff like that. That's great. But it's like, you know, I'm just saying, you know, it's key, and it makes sense to have those people on site because time is valuable. But yet, I'm just kind of pleading this from a citizen: be careful on the approval you're going to give, because then you're going to precedent that for other people to come in front of the supervisors and try to get the same thing. I just want to make sure that we're all hearing the right thing and the approval that's needed, and we're following the right process, so we don't open this thing up after tonight that the agenda is always filled with somebody like, what if I want to come in and ask for 90 agreements, or gentleman in front of me wants to do the exact same thing? Like, we're coming to the board then for every little thing.
So, Tommy, the request tonight is to use 3 RVs as temporary dwellings.
Yes.
For a period of 3 months. Mm-hmm. And that, members of the board, the only thing odd about that in my experience is that it's for an emergency responder. In the municipalities I represent, it is a typical request, usually in the building trades, where the tradesmen, electricians, plumbers, usually the licensed and certified tradesmen are coming from all over the place, and they're living in RVs during the construction period. And lately, finding space in RV courts is difficult. So I know when the Purdue plant in Conoy was constructed, this very same request came before that board for temporary use of RVs as dwellings, and we let them park on the township property during that period of construction. So it is a very limited request this evening. The use has been there since 1987. It's getting a little more intensive, but as long as they do it within the existing structures, we don't have jurisdiction yet. But as Tommy has pointed out, we're going to expect to see a plan if they're proposing any structures, and at that point, our code officials can evaluate what's being proposed. The ask tonight is for 3 RVs as temporary dwellings, and if you're of a mind to allow that to happen on a temporary basis, we would recommend that it be conditioned on the code officials reviewing and issuing whatever guidance and permits, particularly on the electrical connections.
So help me out with the word matter. I will make that motion. And that is to conditionally allow them to use 3 RVs as temporary structures.
Temporary dwellings.
Temporary dwellings.
Is what the zoning ordinance calls it.
Okay. For the next 90 days until the permit issue, the application and the issuance of the permit for the others, for permanent type structures by zone. I'm sorry, not zoning, by our.
Well, so I think the request is to allow the RVs for 90 days, irrespective of anything else. But the expectation is that we'll hear more from them in the meanwhile about their more permanent plans. But after 90 days, if they still want to use these RVs as dwellings, they need to come back. But the approval for that 90-day period would be conditioned on a code administrator revealing what's being proposed and issuing a permit if necessary.
For the RVs.
For the RVs. I'm not saying the permit is necessary. I'm saying that.
Right, you're not sure.
That perhaps a permit is necessary.
Understood.
So you're making that motion all over again?
No, not just in the
First 3 you guys called it.
I'll restate it. So the motion would be, if it's a motion to approve, there'd be a motion to permit 3 RVs, recreational vehicles, as defined in the zoning law, as temporary dwellings, conditioned on a review by the township code administrator and the issuance of a permit if required.
That's the motion.
So you made that motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll second that motion as second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
2-0.
Aye. Good. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on.
Can we just, so nobody's to use that until you get requests for a permit for the, so that's understood.
Yeah, and we can get the code official out there pretty quick.
Yeah, well, I won't do anything until I get an email from Tommy saying it's okay. I'll wait for that lesson.
Well, and the permits are already in place.
Yeah.
They're already in place with all the drawings. They've been in place.
Do you need that review letter from PennDOT? Just, do we need it? No, right?
With any plan submission that might become relevant, but yeah, until then, yeah.
Okay, motion carried. I saw a question.
I should ask a question earlier, but
Name, please.
Todd Miller. I'm glad it was approved. Don't all agree with it, but it is an emergency service, and 100% for that. But kind of putting the cart before the horse, how long have you been communicating air methods with the fire company to start this plan?
Well, I will fill that. This conversation has probably only been 6 weeks at most. It was pushed by the hospital, because they decided between the effort of WellSpan and the Good Samaritan Hospital, that they decided they need a air medical unit in this area to facilitate that.
So I'll say quote unquote, almost right when they started bringing the helicopters in. Same time frame.
They want, their goal was to have
Fairly
something
quick.
in place in the first quarter of 2023. And we only found out about it, I'd say, in mid-February. And that was only because the WellSpan effort of people sent them to us because we had to pad for that. So, yeah, and in all fairness, he is behind the 8 ball because they were pushed by others.
Okay.
And we are trying to catch up, and nothing will happen on that property until we do get the blessing and the email in writing from Tommy for anything. They cannot do anything on that property without fire company blessings, and we're not gonna give them any blessings until we have it from here.
So even with the job site trailer that's there.
That's all just sitting.
There.
It's just sitting.
Dead weight right now.
Yep.
And the trailers are dead weight right now.
Yep, they're just sitting. So yeah, nothing's hooked up to them, they're not at their spots, they're just sitting.
Okay.
So
The only concern is because it's going through planning meetings,
yeah,
zoning
yeah.
meetings.
I met with
Nothing
their
was approved
engineer.
for presenting that.
I think their engineer firm was in 2 weeks ago when I met with them, so it's only the beginning process of that. But yeah, all that stuff's just sitting there, nothing's hooked to it, nothing will be until we get that blessing in writing from Tommy.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on. Action items, approve review period waiver for Dutch Cousins Campground.
This subdivision, 90-day clock expires on May 27th. In lieu of an extension, the applicant is providing a waiver of the review period, reserving the right to restart it upon written notice to the township.
All right, this time I'll make a motion to accept the waiver of the review period for Dutch Cousins Campground, LD 2022-03.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Grande?
Similar, this 90-day review period expires on May 29th. In lieu of an extension to the review period, the applicant has provided a waiver of the review period, again reserving the right to restart the clock upon written notice of the township.
I'll make a motion to accept the waiver of the review period for Grande, LD 2023-01.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 28 Eddie Drive,
The
for the stormwater management agreement.
Board of Supervisors will consider a stormwater management agreement at 29 Drive. Stormwater improvements include 1 infiltration trench. The form of the agreement has been reviewed and approved by the township solicitor.
Right. I'll make a motion to execute a stormwater management easement agreement at 28 Edie Drive.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Bruce Aluminum.
The second stormwater management easement agreement, Bruce Aluminum. This agreement encompasses the entire property. What we'll recall, the applicant was before us last month for a waiver of land development. This is one of the requirements of the condition of the grant of the waiver of land development. The form of the stormwater management easement agreement has been reviewed and approved by the township solicitor.
I'll make a motion to execute a stormwater management easement agreement at Bruce Aluminum.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Award bid for the 2023 road program.
The township did let for bid its 2023 road program for the board this evening. The township traffic engineer did review the bids. The bids consist of paving and seal coat of certain roads in the township. The lowest qualified bidder for the pavement, HEK Roof Fees and Skittle House in Skippack Township. The bid amount is $443,398.60. For the second part of the bid, that is, we received one bid from Martin Paving in the amount of $107,485.30. The recommendation of the board is to award the bid to those two contractors for the work for this year's grant program.
Yes, just as a point of information, the second lowest bid on the blacktopping was Kinsley Construction at just $500 more than Asian Town. Amazing when you're in the same ballpark like that.
Anyone make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
You just said numbers. This one right here, 2023.
Okay, 2023, a motion to award the bids for 2023, the road program to one, it's H&K Group Incorporated from Skippack, PA, the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $443,398.60. Contract for paving, and 2, Martin Paving and Libbets, PA, the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $107,485.30. That contract is for bituminous seal coat.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
The interesting thing is all 7 bids were within 15%.
Yeah.
It must be going to order.
Yeah.
The award bid for sale of a used vehicle. We had one of our old police interceptors, 2017 Ford Taurus on municipal. The high bidder was Luis Juarez from Lawrenceville, New Jersey. The highest responsive and responsible bidder in the amount of $6,200, so $6,200. So I'll make a motion to accept the bid.
I'll second it.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Vehicle emergency lighting. Chief, you want to add to that? You want to talk about it?
Well, Chief Kepley ordered a Ford F-150 as a patrol truck. When he ordered the vehicle, he ordered it with an exterior light bar. He's since retired. And I thought that was a great idea. We could definitely use a utility pickup truck just for various reasons. And then I started thinking a little bit deeper and thought that we might be able to utilize that vehicle even more if we put the emergency lights on the inside. Okay, so we have, when it was upfitted, the lights were put on the inside of the vehicle so that you don't have a light bar on the roof. There was emergency lighting on the back, and what I felt was very insignificant lighting on the side for obviously emergency purposes. So I did reach out to the same upfitters who provided me a quote to run emergency lightings all around the running boards on both sides of the vehicle and add additional lighting to the rear of the vehicle. Upon speaking with some officers that operate an SUV, which is totally unmarked, it's a black SUV, there's no exterior lights, all the lights are interior. Those officers stated that they had quite a few close calls, especially up on 222. I remember back when I was on patrol, I had numerous close calls on 222 and 272, and that was in a fully marked police cruiser, with the exterior lights, everything lit up. The first responders will know you can light it up like a Christmas tree and you're still basically taking your life in your own hands. So by no means do I think that this is a guarantee, but I'm looking out for the safety of my officers. And after speaking with some officers that operate that black SUV that's totally unmarked, they told me numerous times that they were involved in some close calls where they were almost struck, or their vehicle was almost struck. So I also submitted a bid for the black SUV for additional lighting, and that would be run There's no running boards on the black SUV, but the lighting would be run from the rear wheel to the front wheel on both sides, and then there'd be additional lighting on the back.
Just to add to that, the truck took forever to get here, so it finally got here a couple weeks ago, and I happened to stop by the one day with Chief, and he is correct. When it comes to safety of our officers, that's key. The lights on the tailgate of the vehicle are actually under the tailgate, and if you're coming from behind, you barely see that it's a police vehicle. So I think that'll be a great addition. You guys got anything? At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of emergency lighting for 2 police vehicles in the amount of $6,270.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Approval of the concession stand operations contract at the Reamstown Pool.
Each year, the township enters into an agreement for the operations of the concession stand at the pool. The agreement before the board this evening is similar to that adopted last year. It requires the concession stand operator to open the concession stand on all days the pool is open, generally between the hours of 12:30 and 8 p.m., a little bit later on swim nights. The agreement would be in place, of course, for the duration of the 2023 season.
We said no changes from last year.
Just format changes, but the same.
Motion?
I'll make a motion to approve contract for operation of the concession stand at the Reamstown Pool for the 2023 season to Ken Porter.
I'll second that. Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Resolution for 2023-04 for the opioid settlement agreement.
So, members of the board, this is a multi-state, obviously, consequently multi-municipal settlement proposed with the pharmaceutical firms. The resolution expresses, if adopted, the intent of the township to participate in that settlement if the settlement is to occur. This is the first attempt at assessing whether there is a sufficient number of states and municipalities, states, counties, and municipalities that are willing to enter into this settlement. So the resolution expresses that willingness. If enough entities agree and the settlement moves forward, we would then have the opportunity to access monies from that settlement for specific mitigation and programs to address opioid addiction syndrome in the township.
Yeah, do you know, it's probably too early in the process, how are they allocating those funds?
Well,
Did they state that already?
No, that's because it's going to depend on the number of participants and the types of programming that each participant has available or intends to make available to access the funds. So I'm imagining it's, we've been through the ARPA funding where there's a gross amount and we still need to apply for the specific qualifying program.
Thank you.
Any concerns? Motion?
I'll make a motion to authorize the township to enter into certain opioid settlement agreements and accept the terms of the Pennsylvania Opioid Misuse and Addiction Abatement Trust.
I'll second that.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Resolution 2023-05 2023-05.
Since 2013, there have been many board-approved revisions to the township zoning map. Resolution before the board this evening would incorporate all of the previously approved rezones to update the current zoning map.
We would emphasize you're not making any decision to change anything with this one. It's just to physically produce a new map.
Needs updated.
Or perhaps digitally produce a new map, but nevertheless.
So what's hanging here? It's not here anymore.
Because it's not right.
And I'll make a motion to adopt and codify the official zoning map for East Cocalico Township, Resolution 2023-05.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Resolution 2023-06.
So, members of the board, I may need to collateral to Tommy for some of the specifics on this, but the township levies, in addition to the real estate tax, other taxes for streetlights and hydrants, et cetera, and there are exemptions available to certain people and certain properties whereby those taxes are reduced to a fraction of the full amount. Unfortunately, there were a number of difficulties, not all of the townships causing, but nevertheless in producing the spring tax bill this year. And the exemptions were not specifically and accurately reflected in the bills. Consequently, the full amount of these various taxes were levied on exempt properties and persons. The only way under the tax statute to address that is to exonerate the person or the property to the extent necessary to right-size the individual tax bill. Tommy and staff have put together a comprehensive resolution. We think we've caught every person and property that is entitled to that, let's call it a credit. It's actually a right-sizing of the taxes. But as a part of this, we are also asking in this resolution to authorize Tommy together with financial office staff to administratively exonerate any personal property that we miss. So it doesn't reduce anybody's taxes, it doesn't result in any less money collected on behalf of the township. It takes it to what the expectation is in the budget, and it corrects the error in the bill.
What are the exonerations for?
We had 52 properties that were assessed the full street light levy. The properties are unimproved, so they are taxed not at the full rate, but at 25% of the full rate. Those 52 properties. One property is an agricultural property, and under the second-class township code is exempt from street lights, so one property is removed properly from the street light tax. There are 11 property owners who are qualified fully disabled veterans. As such, they are exempt from the payment of real estate taxes. They are still subject to street light and hydrant, but the past practice of the township has been to likewise give an exoneration to those folks for street light and hydrant. We're memorializing what has been past practice for fully disabled veterans. Also, the township received some bills for streetlights and hydrants, and the resolution includes, of course, the exoneration.
So there wasn't an old resolution for that?
The township or the disabled veteran?
I'm sorry, the disabled veteran.
I wasn't able to find it, so we'll memorialize it now, because by the letter of the law, they're not automatically exempt.
I assume you guys are okay to proceed with that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve certain tax exonerations and to extend the payment discount period. Tommy, the discount period.
Oh, yes,
extension.
yeah, yeah, so at our last meeting, it was noted that while the tax bills were dated March 1st, they were mailed on March 7th, and there was a question about extension of the discount period, and we said, yes, that would be done. This resolution includes that. May 7th is a Sunday, so I put it to May 8th.
So the statute creates the discount period, it's 2 months, not 60 days, it's 2 months from the day that the tax bills were mailed. So technically, we're not extending the discount period, we're specifying what the date of the discount period is by specifying the mailing date, which is different than the printed date. Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023-06 to approve certain tax exonerations and to extend the payment discount period to May 8th, 2023.
I will second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report, list of bills. General fund bank account list of bills in the amount of $24,108.01 for the week of March 23rd, 2023. See any questions on that list of bills? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I will second that.
I'll abstain.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And one abstention.
I'll give a quick.
Okay.
The reason for my abstention is there's a Fulton Bank credit card bill on this list of payments. There was a credit card purchase made at my establishment for food from the township. So I'm abstaining for that list of bills for that reason.
Okay. Next one. General fund bank account list of bills in the amount of $94,852.14 for the week of March 30th, but not including check number 63,750 payable to Cardmaster Services in the amount of $2,354.70. Any questions on that list? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Nay. Motion carries 2-0. So my abstention, I apologize, I guess I'll abstain on both bills.
Reversing the nay.
I'll reverse the nay on the first one. The motion carried 3-0. The nay is on this motion, so it's 2-0. And for the reason I just listed about 60 seconds ago.
Okay, so in lieu of that, we have a check payment on check number 63,750 payable to Cardmaster Services in the amount of $2,354.70. Is there a question on that check? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
This is the one you have to abstain.
You should have it all spelled out right for me, right? Okay.
I have a second.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
No. Motion carries 2-0. So again, for the record, I will be a yes on the previous and a no now for the same reason.
Abstention.
I'll be abstaining now.
You got it.
Third time.
I think so, third time's the charm. That's
We've
what they
never
say.
had to do this before. So.
There's always a first.
We don't necessarily.
As long as you correct yourself, it's not an
We don't
error,
have the
right?
process down.
Okay.
Everybody makes a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to the next one. General fund bank account amount and the list of bills of $175,959.80 for the week of April 6th, 2023. Any question on that list? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay, next one, light fund bank account list of bills in the amount of $13,747.81. The starting date of March 16th of 2023 to an ending date of April 5th, 2023. Any questions there? Seeing none, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
And the last one, electronic payment list of bills in the amount of $81,789.59 for the pay period from March 12th, 2023 to March 25th, 2023. I make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
That's your treasurer's report for tonight.
Thank you, sir. Informational items. Anybody got anything? I'll just, March 29th, I attended a PSATS webinar for the over 10,000 population town hall. Something that PSATS is sending emails out to different supervisors. We can't be on the call at the same time, so they sent it to me, and I'm assuming the other gentlemen have got it to attend for other ones. It was very eye-opening. There was a lot of people throughout the state that showed up to the call. There was a total of about 31 people on that call. The main topic was first responders. It was all about the fire companies and EMS and how difficult it is for the volunteers, obviously. Not too far from here, they're actually starting in 2024, they're implementing a EMS tax. Just because they can't have enough, they can't find enough volunteers. Their biggest thing was they couldn't find enough volunteers to get their ambulance out the door during the day. And it wasn't at night, it was mostly during the day. So I thank our first responders. I know there's representatives here from all three fire companies. It's difficult times, and I thank you guys that we don't have to put a tax, and I'm sure the citizens will thank you guys as well for not putting a tax, adding a tax per se. But yeah.
Okay, I have something too, a little different topic. The governor was in this portion of the county last Wednesday. He was here to talk about avian flu. That hits home with me personally. So I attended that. He was talking about the positive cases of flu in chickens and mostly ducks in this portion of the county, and the quarantine zones that are put in place. The previous week, they had put out a press release that they were going to be testing backyard flocks in this portion of Lancaster County. They alluded to the fact at that meeting that this isn't necessarily somebody with 5 or 6 chickens in the backyard. This is commercial birds or ducks that are to be moved from one farm to the market somewhere. That's where their focus was on the testing. So they were in the township in different places, testing ducks and geese, and to my knowledge, there's been no positive cases in the last 3.5 weeks in this portion of the county, which is a good thing. So if there's any anybody that needs information on that, governor instructed people to go to PAGov.net, I think it was, and to go onto the agricultural section for the Department of Ag. There's, he said there's a lot of information there that can help you if you suspect the avian flu is in your backyard. So thankfully it's not in mine. So anyway.
Jeff, where did the test was?
They were south of here, south in a lot of them in Brecknock Township. It got over into Earl Township a little bit, and East Earl, basically in that zone. So yeah, that's all right. That's my comment on the.
Moving on, new business, you guys got anything? Old business? No? Public comment, please list your name and, for the record, and, go ahead, who's first? Go ahead. Where you wanted to discuss about the.
Oh, yes.
The conservation.
It was a long meeting.
The conservation.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have our MS4 coordinator is here, Ken McCrae. I know there was a lot of people saying things on social media and whatnot. It was brought to the township manager's attention, and we invited them in, obviously. So Ken will make a presentation or answer any comments or concerns at this time. Ken, go ahead.
First of all, let me take a moment and explain how this process started. About a year ago, I think it was, we were contacted by a company called RES Environmental. And what they do is they work for entities that need MS4 sediment reduction credits. All of the organizations in the state, this includes townships, things like PennDOT, the Turnpike, some universities, have an MS4 program, and as part of that, they're required to make changes so as to reduce the amount of sediment that's leaving their area, in this case the township, and headed in this case towards the Chesapeake Bay. And so what they do is this company is going around working for PennDOT to try to find projects that can be done that PennDOT can use the sediment reduction credit for. And PennDOT doesn't own a lot of land that's really suitable for doing this sort of thing. They need places where there's streams and wetlands, et cetera, that can be enhanced or repaired to get this credit. And so we initially went around and looked at 7 or 8 different sites in the township, some of them township-owned land, some of them private land, to try to find places where they might be able to do projects like this. They could do like a stream bank restoration, and then that would generate a sediment reduction credit. And after looking at all those sites, they initially didn't find what they were looking for, but 6 months later, they came back to us and said that actually the property that we own here, which has Stony Run on it, is a good fit for the project they want to do for PennDOT. So the project becomes a joint project between East Cocalico Township and PennDOT. And in these cooperative ventures, both entities get the sediment reduction credit. And the way this partnership works is PennDOT pays for everything, and we provide the land and the stream that's being repaired. So it's not at any cost to us. And if the township were to go out and try to get this much work done, their estimate was it'd be somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million to do the projects they're gonna be doing here on the township property. And it results in a sediment reduction credit of nearly 450,000 pounds of sediment a year, which is a very significant amount. The sediment reduction requirements for the township in this last permit cycle that just ended was about 186,000. And municipalities are allowed to bank sediment credit so that we can hold this for future permit cycles. And so instead of having to spend money in the future to do projects like this, so we'll get a sediment reduction credit, we can use the banked credit from this project, and it doesn't cost us anything in the future. So there's a big financial benefit to doing this. Now, what it involves is the stream out there in a lot of places has high eroded banks. There's some places the bank is 4 and 5 feet high. Just a vertical face of loose soil that continuously sloughs off into the stream due to the erosion. And there are also a lot of trees along the bank that, as the stream bank erodes, they fall over. And the townhouses along Ironwood Court, I was in the stream down there a couple of years ago and took pictures and was out there recently. And there are a number of very large trees that were standing last time I was out there that are now down, that fell in because the stream bank collapsed underneath them. And that's a process that keeps on going. So what's being proposed here is that the stream bank will be stabilized by reducing the slope. Instead of a vertical slope, it'll be at least 3 to 1, maybe a more gradual slope. That'll be revegetated once it's done. The floodplain will be reestablished along the stream so that over the years, the area that when there's a storm, the water can flood out into during the storm has pretty much gone away, so the water ends up staying in the channel, causing erosion. So what they're doing is they're taking and reestablishing the floodplain so that when there's a storm out in this area, which is already a wetland, the water will spread out and basically be stored there and then slowly released as the storm ends, and it can do that without eroding stream bank. So it saves significant amounts of erosion by doing that. And there'll also be some new wetlands created as part of this. In order to do that, they do have to take down some trees because they have to do regrading to change the elevations so that the floodplain gets reestablished. We have talked to them several times about the plan. We haven't seen it yet. It's still being designed. They're still doing surveying to find out. We have requested that they, to the greatest extent possible, save any large trees. And so they have agreed to that, and so they're doing more surveying this summer, and they're going to locate the large trees that are not invasive species, but they're healthy native species, and those will be left and incorporated into the design. And we've also asked them, if possible, for some of the smaller trees, there are a lot of red maples out there, they're native, that if possible, they could move some of those. They're small enough in the range where they could be moved. They have the tree moving apparatus. They can basically cut them out of the ground and pop them in a new hole somewhere to put them where they belong. And there's going to be a lot of vegetation planted to replace what's been taken out. So yes, it'll be a little more open for a number of years, but in 4 to 5 years, the trees will have grown up significantly. Exactly what it's going to look like, I can't tell you because we don't have the plans yet. It's still being designed. So that's, at this point, that's what I know about the project. Now I can answer any questions.
Ken, let me add to it. A similar project to this was done right down on Reinhold's and Miller Road. And Donnie, maybe you remember seeing that six or 7 years ago, where they went in and the stream was snaking around there, and they cut the banks down and planted some new vegetation, and it it worked. I was watching that closely over the years, and it does work. You can go down and take a look at what they did there. It's exactly what Ken describes. The stream banks were.
There'll be additional landscaping, there'll be a lot more trees planted here than you see down on Miller Road. Miller Road is fairly open. In fact, I was there a couple of years ago, we planted some additional trees.
Yeah.
Those are being planted at a very small size in those plastic tree shelters. And that keeps the mice and things from eating them until they get a chance to grow some. The stuff that's gonna be put in here will be larger than that. Again, we don't have the plan yet, I can't tell you exactly what it is. What I can say is that once we have a plan, we can invite you to a meeting and show you what the plan is and discuss it and have a representative from the company here. That's certainly something we will be able to do once we actually know what's being done. Because right now, we have sort of a vague concept, but I don't have any detailed plans on showing exactly what's going to be done.
Name, please.
John Callen, sorry. Ken, thank you for the explanation and taking the time to meet with me a few weeks ago. It was really helpful. I do appreciate your time with that. And I don't know what property you were talking about, but I wonder if the concerns here is this is maybe a little bit different situation where you've got a turnpike directly behind you. You've got the gentleman over here building Eversol with the warehouse, recycling plant, obviously. A lot of new lights going in. I'm already seeing lights from the hotels really polluting this whole area. We've got a lot of people back there in Heatherwoods, the townhouses, the apartments this is going to affect. As far as the planting of new trees, I mean, you'll agree, that 5-year figure, no way. It'll take a decade, 15 years for those trees to get anywhere near big enough to give us that protective barrier that we have now with the noise.
That's where I was at, I went out to pictures along your road, and the trees right behind your house, there are only a couple of them, and the rest of it's an invasive species, honeysuckle bushes. They don't get very big, that's as big as they're ever gonna get. And with this, there'll be some actual trees put in there that'll be decent trees, because they're only, in that whole block that I looked at there are only maybe 7 or 8 actual native trees, and the rest was just.
I understand, but what they're providing a purpose, and what that purpose is for us, and the concern is that noise, and you'll notice, I think people that live in that area will notice in the winter when that foliage falls off, the noise is a lot louder. In the summertime and the springtime when those trees blow up, it produces a great noise barrier, great light barrier. Like I said, I think we can all look outside now, and we're already seeing, and that's nothing we can do about that. That's trees that they've taken down to the warehouses and recycling plant or whatnot. But that's done is done. What we have left now is all we have left. And taking out even a small amount of these trees and allowing, I'll be, a lot of people will be dead by the time these things get on.
The footprint of this plan only impacts a fraction of that area. It doesn't cut down all the trees between your properties and
I saw the plan
we recycle.
Yes, but it's a fairly large area. And obviously we don't even know the plan, like you said, could be more, could be less. So, I mean, I've heard a lot of concerns from a lot of people who live, we get a lot of registered voters and taxpayers who live right there that are gonna be affected by this. Not just the light alone, it's, well, looking out that window is a lot different now. The sound is worse, and will continue to get worse. Like I said, those trees are gonna take a very long time to grow to be sufficient enough to do really anything. That's beautiful back there when in the spring and summer. It really is. It's a shame to touch that area just because it's financially feasible. It may help you guys financially. For us.
Species back there.
Invasive. What's invasive species? I mean, you can call it what you want. It's pretty. It's nice.
Alien species that don't belong in this environment, basically, and they grow rapidly, and grow fast enough that they start excluding the native species, which are the ones you want, the ones that really are adapted to this habitat.
I mean, all I'm gonna say, I'm not a botanist or anything, but it's pretty back there, and it serves a purpose. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And so for financially, might financially benefit all township, it doesn't do us any good for, our quality. Well, I won't speak for everybody. For my quality of life, it makes it worse. Regardless of what your financial benefits are, I would, obviously, I know the plan's not finalized, we'll have some meetings or whatnot, but I would, there's a lot of people back there, a lot of registered voters, a lot of taxpayers. And
right.
That I personally, I wish this would be DOA and we just scrap it all together, but, I realize I don't speak for everybody, so that's.
These MS4 pollution reduction requirements are not optional. We absolutely have to do. It's not a choice. It's stuff that we don't have to do it today, but in the next 10 or 15 years, we will absolutely need to do this stuff. And doing it now, especially when somebody else is paying for it, is a whole lot better.
Understood. 10 to 15 years from now, things can change though, as we know. 10, 15 years ago looks a lot different than 10, 15 years now.
Right, and in terms of trying to reduce pollution, since the state isn't close to meeting the goals that have been set by the Chesapeake Bay Commission and the other, the EPA, it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get any better. The amount of things the township has to do to meet the requirements are going to go up. They're not going down. That's guaranteed.
Ken, let me add something here. To what Ken just said, it's really important because there's a lot of new faces here, and I've said this in the past, and you really need to understand the genesis and where this is from. Okay. The state of Maryland, in quick summary, the state of Maryland has successfully sold the sole polluter for the Chesapeake Bay, the main contributor, is Lancaster County, Jeff, help me out, Lancaster County, York County, relative general area, and all the streams and rivers that feed into the Chesapeake. They successfully sold that. That was a thing that was building for years at a federal level that nobody paid attention to. Then it resulted in federal legislation then that went from the state of Maryland and hammered into the state of Pennsylvania that says now you must correct this because you caused it. And that's the difficulty of where we are. So when Ken says it's a requirement, it's a requirement, okay? There is, Ken, you and I were following this closely. Matt might know where it's at now. There was litigation that was filed or getting ready to be filed because the state of Maryland even accused the state of Pennsylvania of dragging its feet because they weren't happy with the timeline in which this was actually getting accomplished. And I don't know whatever happened, but I think that was last year, Ken, or the year before. There was a big discussion about that.
So this effort includes every land disturbance in the Commonwealth of 1 acre or greater. So that's the part of the national federal legislation. It's called the NPDES permit. It's a pollution and sediment reduction requirement. So by little pieces and big pieces, the intention is to reduce the pollution in the bay and restore the fisheries, is everybody's hope. Again, those who attend regularly have heard me say this. The township is allowed to do two things. The things that the Commonwealth lets us do and the things that the Commonwealth requires us to do. That's it. We don't have any authority others. And this is one of the things that the Commonwealth is requiring us to do. And there are a lot of different ways that it's being done. The Steinman Foundation, cooperating with 5 municipalities, is pursuing the restoration of the entire Little Conestoga Creek. Another project that is kind of in its, the end of its beginning stage is along the J.C. Run in Manheim Township. I drive by it every day. Lancaster Area Sewer Authority, which is an MS4 permit holder, restored that stream bank. Yeah, there aren't temporary, like any construction impacts, but that whole area that I see every day along the J.C. Creek looks so much better right now. Adjacent to Route 30, it's louder, there's, lights from Route 30, but the reason this is an important project is because of all the water that comes off the turnpike and off 222 and into the Stony Run.
Yeah, it's down here on here.
Yeah, so that's why PennDOT is pursuing this. We're just making the township land available and getting the benefit of it.
And just as an addendum to all that, the board did look at a stream bank restoration project in Greenstown Park, going roughly from Church Street down to the Municipal Park.
Memorial Park.
Municipal Park.
And there was cost estimates on that of close to $700,000 to put this in place.
And that's what we would have needed to do to meet this permit cycle's pollution reduction goal, which was due by March 15th of this year.
And as an addendum to that, too, a 1% increase in your real estate taxes gives us roughly $19,000. So you can kind of see what the scope of the work is there and how important this is. Just those are some of the numbers.
Yes, sir.
Alan Fry, I was a supervisor back then. We were considering the Reamstown Park. We would have raised the taxes to do that job 12% that year. They wanted to move the taxes 12% just to do that one program at the Reamstown Park. So when somebody wants to do something for free, please consider it.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Jen Wagner. I think what, as residents of Heatherwood, what we're just trying to get at is it's kind of being hit with a double whammy here. We got Pure Cycle coming in, all that's being blasted out and around us, and then this coming in and more trees. And I know invasive or not invasive, whatever foliage we do have, we kind of want to know where we're going to be left, what we're going to be left with, because then once Pure Cycle's in, all that's pulled away from us. Then yes, we're left with a community that's not the same as what we came into, and it's gonna change our entire landscape. So I guess we just kind of want to know where, as a community, what we're gonna be left with, and what we're up against going forward.
Pure Cycle is required to do plantings too.
Okay.
They will be planting shrubs and trees on the boundary lines for shielding from their site community.
And they're required to maintain them.
Right, and again, they're
So if they
an DES permit holder, so they're under regulation as well.
They have to be replaced.
And this project comes with maintenance, and it's the firm that's putting it in will be responsible for maintenance going forward. We will not be paying for that.
But Ken, to answer some of the neighbors' questions, you need to have the plans, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's all in theory now. I can't really tell you what it's gonna look like. I do have some pictures they sent me of other projects they've done. I think they were taken either 4 or 5 years after the project was done, and there are substantial trees there in 4 or 5 years. They're not planting little saplings. They're putting in decent sized trees when they're doing this stuff.
And they had said they're replacing 1 for 1.
I don't know. The 1 for 1 replacement certainly wouldn't apply to the small invasive species.
Well, if they're cutting them down, right,
Well, yeah, they're not replacing invasives, but I don't know the replacement ratio. There may not be a specific number they're aiming for. They're probably aiming for a certain type of habitat they're trying to create.
But again, Ken, we will know that before the project.
Right, so before any earth is moved, we'll know that.
So perhaps we can commit to an informational meeting with the contractor when we have the plans.
Yeah, that would be a good idea that everybody can.
But just for clarification, prior to approval, we will have meetings. You guys can come in, ask questions about the plan and all that. And we're not gonna approve it behind the scenes and say, this is what you're getting, period. If I make myself clear that way. It doesn't, this happens in a public meeting. The presentation from them and all that, all the discussion happens in a public meeting. Nothing happens behind closed doors. We can't be more transparent than we have been. At this point, we have nothing, just preliminary, and that could change. The line might come down. At this point, we do not know until they go out there and start banding off the trees, probably that what's staying and what's going. Yes, sir.
John. Either way, I mean, it sounds like what's being said is we don't have a choice. Take it or leave it. So if they come and say, they're all gone, we're not planting nothing, pretty much take it. Or you're saying my taxes are gonna go up and we need our money. So what does it matter?
I think the more accurate thing is, as the property owner, the township has the right not to approve this plan. But the township needs to do a project like this somewhere in order to meet its mandate from the common. So that's what's going to be weighed when we see this plan.
Okay, so that was my next question. So the township does have the authority to say, no, we're not doing it.
We're the property owner.
And keep in mind what they're trying to do. So if they come in and earth strip everything the way you're thinking, in an extreme worst case scenario, it's not gonna happen because it doesn't meet the requirements that they really need for sediment control, for soil control.
The trees and shrubs and things are needed to stabilize the soil.
But the invasive species, what you're saying is most of it.
Most of them are small stuff. They're not providing great cover or sound barriers. They're not large.
I would disagree with that because I actually live right behind it. It provides a nice cover, but I don't know. I mean, you can take a walk back of our neighborhood once and look at it.
I've only seen it from the street side.
Yeah, you should come back. It is really beautiful. I invite you to come back.
Okay.
Take a look in the spring and summer. It's beautiful.
That's why they're there. The invasives are actually many times more beautiful than the dates.
Not always.
Not always.
Yes, sir.
That's why the English gardeners imported poison ivy from the world.
The timeline for this project is it when? Happening in 6 months, a year?
We are anticipating a plan sometime in the fall. I don't have a date when they're gonna have a plan ready for us to review, but it's probably gonna be into the fall.
Anybody else?
In time for elections.
Yes, sir.
Jeff Garner, I'm here on behalf, I'm speaking now on behalf of Reamstown Fire Company. I had sent an email to request permission to do a toll road tomorrow. I was advised it got kicked back, so I apologize. So I'm asking the boards, I believe it was pre-approved at other meetings, but I just wanted to go through the formality. So we do our annual toll road at Church Street and Reamstown Road. I'm always Good Friday, so I'm asking for the board's approval for that tomorrow.
For tomorrow?
Yes.
That's the annual.
Yeah, that's the annual one. That's one we do every year.
All right.
And I thought I couldn't find the minutes, but I thought last year it was approved permanently, but I didn't find that, so I sent the email to Lisa, and I must have had a wrong email. It got kicked back when I left the office. So I'm just asking for the formality. So
No, Jeff, I'm smiling because I seem to remember we had a meeting where we discussed every time this was coming up in an annual item for the departments, it made sense just to let it go unless, remember that, Jeff?
I thought it last year was
Unless
approved that way.
there was a change.
Right. That's what I thought, and I couldn't
Like a
find
date
it.
or a location or something like that.
Right, because ours is always at the same spot. Other people were doing it at different spots based on other things. Because we had put our letter in, and I think at that meeting, you guys had approved the other departments. I just want to confirm that, because I just sent the letter.
Yeah, them and the Lions Club, Alan Fry.
Is that the ones?
Lion Club does.
Yeah, that, we agreed that Black Friday for one of you, and then, what was the other one?
Friday.
The Good Friday was the other one, yeah.
Okay, so it was before Jeff. It was when. it
Yeah,
was
you,
you
me,
and
and Doug.
Okay, that's how I remember it.
Yep.
That's how I remember it.
Yeah, because we have done ours every
Yeah,
year.
so I don't think.
Okay, that's fine.
Based
I want to make sure before tomorrow comes.
Are you okay with that?
I mean, I was gonna say, I thought you were asking for permission now. I know I said it last meeting, I think, when Stevens asked for theirs. We have more structure now with a township manager. I prefer those requests come in writing the week before the meeting, so he can add it to our Friday package prior to the meeting.
Yeah.
But we did it for them, so I'm okay with doing it for you.
And like I
guys as
said,
well.
I had done that, and I had sent it to Lisa, and I must have had her wrong email, because I got a kickback, because we had
Change domains.
I've always sent a form letter in, and it got kicked back for the agenda, so, and that's why I'm asking, because I didn't see it on here.
So let me just ask Tom a formal question. Matt, a formal question here. I remember that discussion, and Alan remembers it also, Matt, right? So are we okay then just deferring to Reamstown? It's the same date, the same location, same time, nothing has changed, and we had, Alan, it was in perpetuity is what it was, just going forward unless something changed.
Yeah.
So if there is no meeting minutes or for the record, we should do that now, I assume.
So
there's no harm in redoing something that you've already done.
Yeah, the only time we changed it was, we changed it at COVID. We did it 4th of July at COVID. That's when we did it.
Okay.
That was the only time we changed it.
Right, yeah. So Matt, if we do that, then I gotta do the first motion then, which is to amend the agenda to add Reamstown Fire Company to the agenda.
I'll second that.
And
Motion and a
this would be a
second.
permissible amendment, because it's not costing the township any money. You're not spending $100,000 to do this.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Go ahead.
So now I will make a motion to allow Reamstown Fire Company to do its annual, what do you call it, Jeff?
Toll road.
The annual toll road.
It's from 7 to 7.
From 7 to 7, Friday.
Good Friday.
On Good Friday.
Good Friday.
On Good Friday, period. No, hold on, period. And allow Reamstown Fire Company to extend that in perpetuity unless there is a change of date.
Okay.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
Date, time, or location.
Yep, well, change of day, because Good Friday is a different day every year.
Okay, day.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's fair. Yep.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Any other comments, questions? Yes, sir.
I have
Name.
Jeff Carter. I'm just bringing this up because I'm in construction and everybody has NPDS permits. Who's controlling the mud on the road from Warfels job site across from Acme? So drive out there after a rain event And tell me who's cleaning the road off. or what's it.
It's a shared responsibility to enforce it. They're supposed to clean the road.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
us and the conservation.
And the conservation district.
Technically, that's South Atlantic Creek Road, so that is a PennDOT roadway.
Yeah, and so
The contractor has been alerted of it multiple times from us as a township, from Becker Engineering, even though technically it's not a township road, but it is a township. So we understand the concern, we have been on top of the contractor, unfortunately, we have not.
Have we contacted the conservation district?
I have to check the latest conservation district report, I'm not sure if they were recorded on it or not. But other than constantly harping on it, discussing at a pre-construction meeting, talking to PRK and Workforce, we've done those things.
So we can't take action.
We can
Just agitate, but the conservation district.
So you as a municipality can take action, you can make a complaint to the conservation district.
Well, that's what I'm suggesting, that we should check to make sure that.
The only reason I'm saying something is because then you have all the truck coming out of Acme, and it goes all the way down the highway. I come home at night, and that road is atrocious. Then when it rains the next day, then the mud's all down the other
We
end.
hear you, we're agreeing with you.
So,
We're gonna contact the conservation district.
okay, thank you.
All right, the next Board of Supervisors meeting will be Thursday, April 20th at 7 p.m. here. The meeting will be broadcasted on Zoom if you can't attend. Need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Hopefully we have that.